Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Is this Friday? It's Friday, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so we're just still getting kind of situated here. We're kind of just shuffling things around, setting up the
It's
room.
also, we spent quite a bit of time this morning talking about what it is that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And last night as well.
Yeah. We have a ton to talk about. In fact, I might just warn our listeners, especially those who do it and listen to the thing on the ride to work or whatever in the car, because we do have a number of people that choose to, listen on the way to the auction or on the way home at night. We might run a little long. There's quite a bit to talk about as we talk about, kind of describe our 2023, and there's just a lot of business lessons
There really
in
is.
all of this for this year as well. So it's just a lot of stuff to wrap up, and we're just going to try to touch on all of it,
Yeah.
There's
and there's not an awful lot of announcements that won't be covered in what we're about ready to kind of dive into. But yeah,
we do have the one thing that has happened. We announced the private
dealer group.
That's off to a good start. We've got a number of dealers in there, and people are cooperating with the questionnaire.
And that's been like a thing that,
feedback.
Hey, I'm like moving this thing around because it wasn't centered. Because we were like moving everything around just before we got started, and you're like, nope, don't like that. Nope, don't like that. So just trying to fix it. All right. So I think we're settled.
Okay, let's go.
First off, this is our 250th episode.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that in itself is something that we're really.
I'm kind of tired of it. I think I'm going to stop. This may be my last one. So.
We wanted to not.
No.
No, we're just getting started. We as we were kind of reflecting about the last year, and we realized that there was a lot that was applicable from prior to last year that have really helped us foundationally to build a lot of the things that we've built. Just starting the morning show, the Institute, Nation Television, that kind of stuff. But this is like where we've gone in this last year, and just this year, we've celebrated in January. We celebrated our 100th episode, and that was a pretty big milestone for us.
A lot of people were kind enough to show up and join in the conversation. For
yeah,
that one.
We had a lot of people.
So a great way to kick off 2023.
It really was. It really was. There was a lot of just fun and just a lot of excitement around it. And then we move on to March, and we had our first real we had the Buy Here, Pay Here Nation Television event, day-long event called about enterprise value. And
if you missed that, ask somebody.
It's sitting in the Institute, and everything that was talked about is still relevant.
When I listen back on that, I'm just blown away by the information that was shared,
and who we had.
The experts that were there. Just unbelievable.
Yeah. It was all of the top experts in capital, all the top experts in accounting. We had Brent Carmichael there helping and moderating. And Jeff Watson was there helping to moderate during part of it too. And, he's always just got front row dealers. And it was just really
really
great.
Cool. Yeah. So that was big in March. And
then in June,
we named Jerry Martinez as our interim CEO. So we were able to connect with him in Vegas at the NIADA convention.
And if you all want to hear the story behind that, then we can direct you to the episode, because we talked about how that happened. Jerry is a
retired
three-star general. They come from the same hometown, and Jerry is just amazing. And then August, we announced our first 2 founding sponsors.
Dealer Re and LHPH Capital. So that was fun to have Tim Lawrence and Tim Bird on the broadcast with us on the 200th. And that's a big deal for us. Like that, when you look at White Hat Way, and obviously that's been the big push for us this year. And so a lot of things happen. So I really want to take time and break down, especially as it relates to just entrepreneurship, building a business, all the stuff that's happened with us and the lessons that we've learned this year. So many of those things are going to apply to dealers that are listening, that are going through something similar, because that's what our Enterprise Value Day was about.
We've been scaling. And so I think that we've been experiencing a lot of the same hurdles, challenges, and things that a lot of dealers do too. Let's finish off sure. Also in August, we celebrated our 200th episode.
It was the same time
of the morning show. November was a big month for some great things. We announced our third founding sponsor, who is Pastime. And that founding sponsor, those are the only founding sponsors that we will have. We will be opening up annual sponsors for those that would choose to participate in that. But so we closed up. We have 3 founding sponsors. That these founding sponsors stepped in for the really fantastic reasons, really aligned in helping dealers. And their sponsorship is actually something that will be in perpetuity. So they will always be acknowledged on our websites as our founding sponsors for White Hat Way. And then we also started a beta test on a new product that we will be launching next month for dealers. And so we've had a couple of months, and it's just been really, really great feedback and excellent feedback.
We're now moving forward with signing some dealers, but we haven't announced it. We're still just kind of an internal launch, if you will.
Yes.
And so in January we'll be announcing that new solution for dealers. Yeah. Pretty cool.
And it kind of ties into some of our whys and what it is that we're aiming for. And then December we launched our principals only dealer group. And it's vetted principal dealers only. So it's on Facebook, and that will allows dealers the opportunity to speak amongst themselves, unfettered about all of the things that they want to be able to talk about. And so it's the feedback we've been getting on it so far has just been amazing.
So far, it's just it's a lot of foul language. It's people cussing back and forth, and no, I'm kidding. It's been respectful dialogue. It's going to be really important. We had some kind of early struggles on getting people enrolled and some of them got a fast pass. And so we're having to kind of fix some of that stuff.
Make sure that they go through and fill out a survey so we know who they are, and that the entire group will kind of have an idea about what this group comprises of. And so we'll be sharing.
We're asking people as they come in, what would you like to see? Like, how would you like to be able to enjoy, or what would you most like to have in a private group like this? And one of the remarks came back was, I'd like to see more cowbells, which Michelle didn't understand.
I didn't understand that at all.
That's Jared Halstead in Arizona, by the way. He's looking for more cowbells. He would like to find more. And I'm with him. I mean, you can never get enough cowbells. So Michelle didn't know the reference. She hadn't seen the Saturday Night Live thing.
I don't get it.
So I know, Jared. I'm familiar. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, so we've got that. And it's just been interesting to get the feedback. We've got multiple states represented in the thing already. And so it's going to be really an important forum for dealers to be able to speak freely, especially, all the stuff, pay plans, and they're going to want to get inside, information on providers when they're facing a decision about a change with providers and that sort of thing. So it'll be good information. We're excited about it.
So, we've talked about all of the things this last year that have been tangible, straight line things that we can call to and say, these are the things we accomplished, the things that are, measurable and all of that. Very traditional way of looking at when you look back on how your business has performed for the year or whatever. These are very tangible things that it's like, we did this and we did this and we did this and we did this. But we wanted to go a little bit deeper into the intangibles. And about some of the whys and about what our intents are, what our intent is for what we've created and what we're building, what we're going to continue to build. And so
I think for me, when I think about that, when I look back, especially at last year, some big things happened in the realm of White Hat Way. We started to get some real traction. People are stepping forward and joining us in that. I call it a mission. I call Jerry Martinez our mission commander. Like it's those folks don't have enough instruction from us yet, because same thing, we're bootstrapping and we're having to do all the stuff that is running our business day to day and still, build the new thing. I would just say that the way we think about White Hat Way is, if you think about it as a mission, it's about something certainly bigger than us. It's really bigger than the industry that we're in. And I've started to refer to it as like, we're packaging trust. Okay. So when you think about what that looks like, I mean, how do we continue to build trust in the industry? Because I think that's what I think about when you talk about intentions. I think, and of course, I wrote that newsletter rather on my birthday last week, and said, this is kind of how I see the industry and kind of see where we're at.
And we really haven't talked about it on the show.
No,
yet.
And I think it's important. If those who didn't get it, if you'd like a copy, let me know. We'll make sure you have that to read, because it was, kind of a expanded explanation of my vantage point at age 60 and, what lies ahead for me in my career. And this is really, at its simplest form, it's about just making a decision to make a difference, just to devote time and energy to doing what I can to making a difference in the industry where, I've spent a lot of years and learned a few things, and certainly I'm still learning things, but whatever I have learned, I feel like I want to be able to share that, with folks in the industry. So I think as folks get to know us, they'll understand that our intentions are pure around this, and that the business is built on that. Like, it's built on this. And so, we've shown in the past some Simon Sinek's information about what he calls the golden circle, and that is building your business around a why, around, what is your purpose in your business. And I got to tell you, in 2023, that just came into such great focus.
And it was amazing because Jim, we've been talking about like where we wanted to go, the trajectory, all of these kind of things. And one thing we learned is that if you're not clear about why, it's just a lot harder. It's a lot harder to articulate. It's just creates more friction if you're not really super clear about your why, because everything kind of lays on top of that.
Yeah.
And
it ties back.
It ties back. Yeah, absolutely. And when we're talking about like the intangibles, this last year, we've from our inception of all of the things that has been created for the industry, for dealers, it's all been bootstrapped. It's been Jim and I, and maybe a couple of other people that we've just brought in per project, that kind of thing. And until, there's been a few people that have helped us for a little bit of time or on some higher level things, but overall it's been Jim and I, and, we've really, we've laid a lot of foundational pieces, and it has not been, when you're bootstrapping something, and all you dealers out there can understand that when you want to grow, or you want to shift, or you want to change, or you want to be better and possibly bigger than you currently are, and you make that change, it's not easy.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff in our head and we sit there and think, okay, well, how am I going to teach somebody else how to do this? How am I going to hand off this responsibility and have the client still be satisfied, right? Or in your case, as a dealer, how do my customers still be satisfied? How can we still deliver the same level of service?
And fear of whether or not it's going to, will this work?
Sure.
Will people will my customer,
Sure.
will this make a difference to them?
Yeah.
Will it be something that perks their interest?
Right.
Will it be something that will benefit them?
Sure.
And so, yeah, we've really, this last year has been a lot of getting very, very clear and just like digging in and doing some of the hard stuff that that needed to get done. But we really, I mean, when you do that and when you put the time in and when you put the the emotional energy and all of that into something, then when you start to talk to the right people, you have a clear message, your heart's in the right place, it starts to resonate. People start to hear.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we certainly recognize about our own business. And there will be, some folks listening to this who can get on board with that whole idea. But I think what we're really suggesting is that folks, at least with our business, and I think we can ask you to apply some of these same things. Ask yourself if you could apply these same things to your own business. In our business, we made a decision that was really about we were going to commit to make a difference. And for me, that starts to translate into a lot of things about kind of traditional way of doing business versus non-traditional. There's digital things that you would look at. And I think these are things that, here we are at our age, living in an age where things are shifting, artificial intelligence, all these things are advancing.
It's a different world from when we first started in our careers.
It's beautiful and amazing. It's just that as that shifts, you begin to ask yourself, you start to think about some things differently. I certainly have, in the context of things that are tangible and intangible, assets, for example. But going back to the heart piece and the why, it's like, first of all, I just have to make a decision to, I want to step forward in my business. And yes, I have to make a living. We all have to, as business owners, so we got to have some profit in there. We got to make a living and provide value.
As long as your straight lines are within certain parameters and reason, you're going to make a buck.
Yeah. And so I think so in addition to that, if I ask dealers, let's just do it. If some of the dealers listening now, I can just turn to a dealer and say, look, if I could help you to learn to conduct your business in a way that you'll make as much profit or more, and you can feel good about the business that you're doing. You can feel assured that your business is an asset to the community. You can feel more assured that your employees are going to want to stick around because they feel good about the work that is happening. So I'm saying, when we can learn as businesses to get comfortable with this idea of starting to run our decisions through our heart, not just our head. Of course, we make decisions in our head all the time. We've touched on this before, but I think what you're hearing from us is one of the things we recognized about our own business in 2023 is that, when you're coming from a place of heart and you can express that, it's easier to get people rallied around what you're doing. And if they share the mission, whatever the vision, purpose, the why, if they share that vision and they can get bought into the purpose, then you can think of how that extends to team. You can think about how that then extends through your team to your customers. And now our ability to not only scale our business, but to feel good about what we're doing. So there's nothing that Michelle and I are talking about is, quit running your business in your head, start doing your business. I'm not suggesting less profit.
Don't stop running your business in your head.
I'm just saying it might sound that way.
Yeah, that's
not
it
what
at
we're
all.
suggesting. You're going to continue to make the decisions through your head. But when you involve your heart, what starts to happen in my mind is, and sometimes this is, as somebody who played some sports in school, and I think about some of the athletics element of this, like what we learned and visualization and some of those things. I just think about, making a decision to step forward in that way is just, it's a simple thing. You just simply make a decision that I want to do the right thing. I want to be good to my customers and my community. I want my business to be an asset. I want my employees to enjoy the work that they do. Like, it's a simple decision. It's like, all I want to do is, yes, I want to make a good living. Yes, I want to know how to buy cars better and recondition them faster, and all that all still applies. And I'm going to do it from a place where I bring my heart to my business. My employees can see that. I'm consistent in that. I'm committed to this. I've made the decision, and I'm setting out to make a difference in my career, that my businesses will be an asset to my community. Okay. Will every customer be happy? Probably not. That's not what we're saying here. We're simply saying that when we're consistent and we make those decisions from a place of heart and from a place of why we do it, then if we go back and watch the Simon Sinek stuff, and he talks about that, he's basically saying when you start there and you build out from there.
That's what you drop. That's what's dropped in your heart. It's like, this is our why. So it's going to filter through that. So if you're really clear about your why, then filter all your business decisions through there. And it's the same as from your heart, from that place of like, this is my why. And what we're encouraging that it be full of goodwill and all of those, the white hat way type of why, to be honest and have high integrity and be transparent and be kind and be empathetic and all of those things.
Well, what we can say is that when we do that, our employees stick around, that we have better culture. Our customers are happy because, again, of the buy-in from our employees. So you can't listen to 10 minutes of college coaches talking without hearing them talk about buy-in, teams buy-in, right? That's a thing with a coach and a team chemistry and success. That's really a thing. So I think for us, it's about recognizing, let me go back to our own business. Like, some of the decisions that we had to face, it's like we find ourselves wrestling with, okay, how? Because as we built this thing from the core, this core, it just gets bigger and bigger. Like the opportunity around
the opportunity gets bigger.
It just gets bigger and bigger. So you can get lost if you allow yourself, as a business owner, entrepreneur, you can get a little lost in the how. Well, it's just the two of us. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Well, there's this piece. How can we do all those things at one time? Well, the truth is we can't. And so one of the big shifts for us this year has been learning to shift to a place of who. Say, who can we plug into these positions that can execute the thing? And then we can, and if they come to it from a heart place and they have skills of their own, but if they come to it and they get the mission, like, this is why it's important for us to be able to articulate the vision, right? When they understand the mission and we hire them and they bring their own talents and skills and commitment, then we can let them.
You don't have to worry so much like the how. And it's when we became really clear about what the mission was, we also stepped into a different way of thinking. And you hear the term manifestation thrown around, and there have been videos around that where it's just like, I think about checks in my mailbox, and then it's like, that is not how it works. It is not how it works. And we've really taken a leap this year, and it's just going to be built upon for this coming year, about stepping into manifestation in the way that we understand it now. And manifestation to us is not about, you think about it and it happens.
Right.
But it is about that we were watching this thing, and it's like there's an 80-20 rule, and 80% is your mindset. and 20% is your doing, is like your
The
actions and the things that you're doing. So and it's not that you're going to split time, like 80% of my time is going to be about my mindset and 20% of my time is going to be about this, but it's about 80% of the effort you put into something is about your mindset. It's about this is what it's about getting really getting clear about recognizing as you go along what are things that are getting in my own way. Because I'll tell you something, friends, that if you have big dreams about what you want to accomplish, the biggest hurdle that you will have in accomplishing those dreams is yourself.
Yep. Yeah. And I think for me, when I started to hear about manifestation, I sort of initially dismissed it almost as sort of, you hear this category of woo woo, like it was kind of in a woo woo category. And
well, I mean, when you're thinking, I think about checks in my mailbox, and I go out and there are checks in my mailbox.
Wasn't there a movie, The Secret or whatever, but it's like, when you to really, and so we got to mention there about culture. So, that's obviously when it starts with culture, which starts at the top, right? It starts with the owner. So this is generally who we speak to here is dealer owners, and so this is kind of why this becomes especially important, because we feel like the lessons that we learned and moving from and going back to that March enterprise value, the theme of the entire day is how do I take my business from where it is to the next step? How do I scale what I'm doing? So that's been challenge for us. And obviously when you're coaching, a lot of your knowledge is between your ears. So how do you upload that and how do you make that where it can be scaled and delivered to more people? Where the podcast has been part of that. For us, we get the stuff to more people. It's funny, people listen to us, family members or what. I don't understand your podcast. You do that 3 times a week free? I don't understand. Like what? How do you make any money? So it's funny. And so some of you probably see and understand why that matters to us. Mostly it's just we want to share. We want to bring people. We want to help. And this is the best way for us to reach more people and bring knowledge to people, across the industry. Because look, Michelle and I can't possibly coach everybody that needs help.
Well, why wouldn't we give dealers if they want to do the work themselves and make their business better, why wouldn't we just like, okay, here's some stuff,
sure,
you like listen, watch, whatever, and pick out the pieces that work best for you, figure out what it is that works best for your business model, for all of the stuff. So it's just like, there's just an awful lot of things that we have, basics and some higher level things and all of that we've just been freely teaching.
Right.
And people, our family, like Jim said, it's like, well, how do you monetize that? That's worrying about the how.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just this year that there have been a lot of things that have fallen into place that are taking care of what we need to be able to create what it is that we desire to create.
Yeah. And the other piece of this is in order to start to think about money differently, like there's this, like I said, there's traditional, and we've been out there we started into capital raise, we put aside, we'll go back into capital raise next year into 2024. And we'll have people that'll kind of do that because we're over here, doing our part, right?
We have no doubt it's going to happen.
And I think the part that I really want to talk about with that is, when you think about traditional ROI, okay, if we think about traditional investment, let's just talk about that piece. Traditional investment, investors, and I would hear about investors. Well, an investor is going to want to hear about the multiple of their return on investment, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's traditional. That's money. That's U.S. currency, and I'm going to invest it and I'm going to get a return on my investment. That's straight line sort of traditional investment. And then there's what we're doing, which is almost everything that we've created is in a digital environment. So let me just ask, I want to ask our audience, we've got people listening who are going to be vendors in the space. They might be association people, they'll be dealers, whomever. What do you think, as those of you who have seen what we've created with White Hat Way, you now have some understanding of what it is. So White Hat Way has an identity. we've helped forge that identity now through we're probably 60, 70 White Hat Wednesday episodes that we've done. We've got some material out there. We've got founding sponsors who are on board and supporting White Hat Way. So let me just ask you, what is the value? Like, what do you think the value of White Hat Way as a brand is? I'm not going to tell you a number because it doesn't matter to me. Like, you're going to tell me, okay, I see your brand right now. Even if something happened to Jim and Michelle, all the content that is there, the website, the domains, all the stuff, what is that worth? Well, does it matter?
I mean, if I'm not selling it. Yeah. And yeah, we can put like, well, all right, let's put on our thinking caps and let's put on our brain and our straight lines and come up with those things. But one of the things that we've talked about is $1 billion. Yeah.
That sounds low. I don't know who said that. It sounds low, but
it's like, what are the things? What is the value?
Yeah.
What is the value of White Hat Way for dealers? What is the value of White Hat Way for the industry? What is the value of White Hat Way for our customers?
And you can put that in a monetary value. Like, where would we list that on our balance sheet? Like, where would we list the value of White Hat Way?
And that's something that we've been struggling with. You know, we've been going through this capital raise stuff. It's like, you know, we've brought what we want to do to different friends and colleagues that we know have been very, very successful in their endeavors with business and all of that. And they're like, their questions are all very straight line questions. And so, you know, we recognize that, yeah, that's an important part, and anyone, dealers, all of that, it's an important part. Yeah. But what are the intangibles of what it is you're creating? And that's the thing that we've had to teach them about. This is what White Hat Way is. Yeah. This is what we're doing with this. This is what its intent. This is what our why is. And then it's like, they go, ding, ding, ding. Oh.
Yeah. But just to finish out the thought on, you know, what is the value? Like, what is the monetary value of White Hat Way? Well, I don't know.
$1 billion.
It's something that Michelle and I expect to be around after we're gone. But ask yourself, what is the value to Jim and Michelle Rhodes to know that we are doing something that after we're gone, it could still have an impact on helping dealers and their customers communicate better? Like, what's the value of that?
Helping customers be more successful.
Right.
Helping
dealers be more successful.
Vendors be able to create products to help dealers in their endeavors.
Sure.
To make things easier for them to be able to do the things that matter to them. And it's really too, you know, as we talk about, as we've dove into this, this really is about relationships between business and consumers.
Yeah. And when I say packaging trust, part of the reason I bring that up, especially in the context of, I mentioned investment, there's traditional investment, you know, whether that's venture capitals, angel groups, whatever, there's traditional investment channels. And then there's going to be non-traditional investment channels, and we will be certainly moving into those arenas as well. And I can just tell you that as, you know, co-founder of the company and somebody who really feels like I want to make sure that I'm a spokesperson for what White Hat Way looks like. And what I can tell you is that as there will be a place for traditional investment. I'm just going to tell you that I will make it clear to all the people who come to invest, say, look, this is about more than ROI. This is about more than ROI. So you're welcome to come in and join. But if I'm just saying, you know, you hear, and this is not about us, this is just about in business overall. It's been said that people come in and they put high pressure, they put big dollars into investment, and they're looking for ROI. And we've seen in our own industry companies that became driven by ROI and shareholder, you know, returns, and that affected their delivery of goods and services. What I'm going to make sure that we preserve with White Hat Way is that people who join us, they need to be on board with the mission. This is a mission-driven company,
and that they're in it to see the mission move forward.
Yeah.
And they're in it to see the mission succeed.
So
it is succeeding.
I'm going to make sure our CEO and COO, and they know that, look, the CFO, if they're just doing it pure ROI, you can say, no, thank you.
And that's
no,
okay.
thank you. It's okay. That's just not, we're going to make a return. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if they're not on board with the mission, it's probably not going to be a good fit.
And that's one of the things that we were so tickled about with our founding sponsors, is that they were on board.
Sure.
That they stepped in because they believe in the mission of what we're trying to create. And they're like, how do we help? And even since then, they've stepped forward in other ways. And it's just like with like giving us advice or just and have offered like,
well, I think as much as anything, there's a small
Mm-hmm.
financial thing attached to that, that's founding sponsorship, but more than anything, they're putting their name behind, they're attaching their name to it.
Yes.
They're saying we support this mission, and that alone is worth, a good amount in terms of, and we're grateful because it helps to give traction. It helps us to show that we're not alone in this mission, that other people buy into the cause, the opportunity that it
and want to see it succeed.
And it will. Yeah. It will. And the reason I know that is because, the other thing we talk about some, because it happens that people say, you can look at the world through a couple different lenses, and some might say, oh, the world is negative. It might depend on whether you watch the news or not, or where you get your news, maybe even, but it's like, you might have a really negative outlook about people. And so for me, I'll speak for me. I believe that when we go out and we ask people, if I told you could make the same amount of money, maybe more, and you could make a difference in your career, whatever career remains for you, you could make a difference in your community. You could help your people make more money. You could help make a difference in the lives of your team, make a difference in the lives of your customers. Would you be interested in that? Would you like to feel good at night? Would you like to see your kids be proud of you and the work that you do? I got to believe the answer is going to be yes. A lot of the time, there's a lot of people
dealers that we just so honor and respect because
They're
they've been
out there.
creating that, and they've been doing it.
And all we're doing with White Hat Way is putting a name to it,
and we're shining a light on them. It's like, here is an example of X, and
so this is what White Hat Way starts to look like. And this is why, if you think about what it's going to look like to you, what you're going to see out of White Hat Way in 2024 is, I say it like, and I don't mean to be flippant about it, but if you think about packaging trust, the reason that's important to me is you're going to see us move forward with what I'm going to call trust forward branding. So this is what I mean by how we can take what this identity that we've created, and we can now come to your market as a dealer, and we can start to do advertising that is forward and selling trust. And so first and foremost, we're just basically, we're asking consumers, saying, we know you'd like to do business with folks that you trust. And oh, by the way, here's somebody in your market that we view as a White Hat dealer, right? And so that's how, when you think about, okay, I get what White Hat Way means to Jim and Michelle, but when you start to think about,
let something out of the bag about what we're building this year too.
It's like, there's nothing that I'm trying to be secret about. In fact, I'll go ahead and tell our audience that one of the things we're currently exploring is, we set up a C corporation because that we were advised to do a C corporation because that's, again, traditional. That's where investors like to be protected in a C corp as shareholders. And there's something called a benefit corporation. Okay, so we're not currently a benefit corporation, but I think what you will see in 2024 is we will announce that we become a benefit corporation. Okay. The reason that's important is a benefit corporation is still a for-profit entity, but it has a social good element to it. That's all you have to do to get that declaration. So we know it's easy for us to show that White Hat Way has an element of good. It has an impact piece, a social good attached to it. So the alternative is to be a foundation. We're seeking legal advice and figuring out what's going to be the right way to do that. But I think what you're going to see from us is we can't talk about trust and transparency and not be transparent and trustworthy. In order for us to be trustworthy, we've got to be transparent. And I think by us moving to a benefit corporation, that alone is going to help people see, look, it's really about something bigger than us. It's not about us padding our pockets over here. It's about us. We're going to create a lot of value. Yes, we're going to make a living as we do it. We have to, just like you do in your business. But I hope you can understand that we're not really motivated by that. It's like that's a piece of it. Sure, there's got to be financial. It takes money to make the world go round. Yeah, we got to make some money. But I think you're also going to see us spread between traditional and non-traditional. You're going to see us, we're going to continue to develop digital assets, things that have intangible value. You can't take it off the shelf, right? So this is why this is new territory. And so what are the value of those assets and those
and those pieces? The assets that we're creating are going to be shared. Dealers will have the ability to step in and like what Jim described with marketing that is in a community, in a neighborhood, that kind of thing. So more geofenced marketing from White Hat Way, and also to be able to step in and participate in some of the things that we're creating. And there's a lot of really beautiful things that will be created this next year.
Well, and we're already working with some of our clients to start to roll out some of those things and improve them.
Yeah. And so one of those things is that we said we started a beta group in November, and that will be taken to market next month.
Sure.
And along with that, and I'm thinking that it will probably be next month, there will be a sister piece to that people can step in whatever level it is that makes sense to them.
Now we just sound mysterious.
Now I know
cryptic.
It's like,
we
have to listen in and find out what the stuff is that we also with our events this next year. We are with our sponsors, when we have sponsors for the year. For the year 2024, and in their contracts, it called for a minimum of 3 events, and we're doubling that.
Yeah.
We will be putting on 6 events.
I would say at least 6.
They may not be the full day. It may be a shortened day. But that we will say that there will be a minimum of 6 events that we will be doing this year on a wide variety of topics that we know matter to dealers, and also to team members as well. There are pieces. It's like who wouldn't want to include their team in something that's about collections or something along those lines that the entire team can benefit from. So that's one of the things that we will be doing. And these will be online. We had someone asked, are these in person or online? These will be online. And
good morning, Vic in California.
Morning, Vic.
Glad to have you here this morning.
And Vic, they will be online. What it is that we're creating is more of a digital presence, and so that people in every corner of the world, US mostly, from every size of dealership will have access.
Yeah.
And it's because, we love conferences and we love in-person events and those kind of things. They're great. And there will likely be a couple of in-person type things, but on a much smaller scale.
And said another way, Vic, part of what we're doing with BHPH Nation TV is we're trying to bring education to dealers in a way that they don't have to travel. A lot of dealers feel like they can't get away from their business for a number of days for a conference or whatever the travel costs and so on. So we're just trying to offer an alternative. We're trying to bring education to the dealership or to your nearest device so that you can and so what she's talking about, the 6 events will be heavy on dealer panels. We're going to bring dealers to dealers. And so, it'll be a way for us
and
to
experts to dealers.
Yeah.
And, so I know that like when we go to a conference, you might have different experts that you've got to choose. Which one do I want to go see? Which one?
Right.
Well, this is going to bring the people to you for you to consume live or to consume the recordings afterwards and be able to gain insight and education.
Yeah. And there's some of that stuff out there, that's already just do a search on our YouTube channel or to go to BHPH Institute and you can find some of that stuff.
You're also going to see this year, we have just in the morning show, we have probably, it's if we have 250 episodes divided by 2 is 24 125 plus hours of recorded content just in the morning show that will be sliced and diced and categorized so that it's much more searchable for everyone out there listening.
Right.
And we also have, just on our YouTube channel, there's an awful lot in there too, that is prior. There's also the Tote the Note podcast, which is about higher level things. You're going to see a lot of the content that we already have out there become really accessible through search. And that's one of the big straight line things that we're creating this year for dealers, is so that you can get into a search engine and go this, and it's going to bring everything that we have in our database and everything that other people that have recorded content and want to submit. It will, same thing. So it will create something that will be very user-friendly for dealers and team members as well in certain buckets.
I feel like we've gone deep enough into the straight lines and the how. So that's, this is the way we're going to continue to deliver education. But I think, one of the things we can just say is the reason you don't see a sponsor for the morning show is we need our intentions to be known as being pure. We're just here to educate. We're here to share freely. We want to bring the experts. We want to bring the people, to the microphones who can help educate dealers. And we don't want that to be, we don't want it to be tainted by anything. It's just, we want it to be pure. We want everybody to see that our intentions here are to educate and to make information available to folks who are out there fighting the fight. And we're doing it from a place of, like I say, what you're going to see us do. And part of if there's a selfish intention here, is you're going to see us on our White Hat Wednesdays, bring in the heart piece. We're going to talk about what it looks like to be a white hat dealer
or a white hat business owner.
Yeah.
And so we'll be diving a little bit. You may see a couple of changes in format, but we're still going to be bringing education to you all week long.
We're still arguing about the format. So,
yes.
Arm wrestling.
Right. Also, just as an offering to those out there listening, we send out an email to our founding sponsors about, and in a pretty regular cadence. And it's like, here are all of the things. Here's where we have, what our intent is coming up. Here's what we've accomplished coming up and all of that. And we want to offer to all of you out there, if you would like to be a part of that, that when we send out that email, we would be happy to blind copy any dealers out there that would like to see what it is that's happening, where we are, what we're doing. If you're interested in being in that email and participating in that, please go to whitehatway.com and then fill out the learn more, get involved. There's, we'll send an email and we'll make sure that we put you as one of those people that will be getting that email, because transparency is so important to us.
Yeah.
And we want you to know what it is that we're doing, that we just so transparent about it. And the other thing too is everyone is welcome.
Yeah. Inclusion's a big deal for us. Like there's nothing that we're creating that is meant to be exclusive, with the exception of the dealers only Facebook.
Yes. You have to be a licensed dealer, but there get to be some bumpers around that. But I mean, to join us in White Hat Way, to support in White Hat Way, to make a difference through White Hat Way, everyone is invited with open arms.
Yeah, we'll continue to be transparent. Those who want to know will be able to know what we're doing with White Hat Way. It's meant for everybody.
So again, if you would like to be a part of that, we talk about some of the things on the podcast, not everything. but we talk about some of the things on the podcast. So go to whitehatway.com and then just go ahead and fill that out. If, and, just let me know, because the email will come to me. Just let me know if it's, you want to just be a part of that, and anything else that you would like to be able to participate and move forward the mission of White Hat Way.
Sure. So
What
I want
else
to
we
wrap up
got?
a couple quick things here, just kind of on this business of, I just want to, what you're going to see in terms of our outreach, if you will, this year, when we go out there and start to try to provoke a little thought around White Hat Way and what it looks like to shift into a place of making a difference. I said in my email last week, is the first time I said publicly this thing about, I said in the email that we're sometimes guilty. It looks to me like when you can back up and look at the 10,000 foot view of the industry, and somebody who's been deep in the industry as a dealer myself and manager and all the stuff, like I feel like we sometimes are just overthinking the whole business. Like we get too wrapped up in our head and we overthink all the stuff. And if we can get to a place where we shift. So I'm really saying, one of the things I said in the email was, how about we just spend a little less time thinking about making a buck and a little more time thinking about making a difference. So that's the kind of message that you're going to start hearing from White Hat Way. And that is, it's just a simple ask. I'm not asking for a huge shift. It's not a major pivot. I'm just saying, how about if we gave a little more space to thinking about how can I make a difference? So some of that windshield time from the auction, think about, just give a little bit of time to how can I make a difference? And then there'll come a point where I'll ask you to make a decision. Do you want to join us in making a difference? That's all. You would just be making a pledge to come to join us in White Hat Way. It's inclusive. You just got to say, yeah, I want to make a difference. I want my business to be an asset.
And we know that there's a lot of dealers out there that are.
Ton of them.
And so it's just like that we'd love to have your insight, your experience, and all of that in this. If you guys do go to whitehatway.com, anyone that signs up to get access to those emails, I'll go ahead and send you that email that Jim sent out on his birthday. And it was just beautiful and powerful. And,
So
he writes his most beautiful stuff. And then I read it and I like cry.
She talks about cadence, but you're only going to see those emails from me when I feel inspired. I'm not going to necessarily promise you one every Monday or whatever. So I'll write when I feel inspired. But two more quick thoughts on that, just so you can kind of see, so you'll know what to expect from our White Hat Way marketing and how we're going to invite people to join us in this way of thinking, if you will. And so the other one is, I've touched on earlier, is like, how about we learn and practice more this matter of running decisions through our heart. We're still going to make decisions in our head. There's still business matters, cerebral matters, but when we can involve our heart in our decisions, then how about we think about doing that? And then the last one would be, how about we recognize that anytime we take a step forward in an attempt to do the right thing, that can never be wrong. When we can get comfortable with this idea that all I'm doing is making a commitment to step forward and doing the right thing by my neighbors, by my community, by my team, I'm just stepping forward, doing the right thing. Whatever that looks like for you, that can't be wrong. It can't be a misstep. Right?
And we were talking about this last night. It's like doing right by your team, doing right by your dealership, doing right by your customer, doing right by your neighbors, doing right by your community.
And if you're
doing
not
right
sure
by
what
your
right
industry.
looks like, tune into our White Hat Wednesdays. It's free of charge. We're going to introduce you to people who are doing it. They're out there living it and having great success at it. So this is how you can expect White Hat Way to look. And this is how we start to pivot our business.
Yeah. And so there's some tangible things that are intangible things that you can do within your business. That's think more about making a difference. Make a movement, a step towards doing the right thing every single day.
Sure.
Run decisions through your heart. Tune in.
Yep.
And then I just wanted to before we go, we have an article that will be released. It might be today. or
I'm
in the
not
next
sure when
couple
they
of
release
days.
it. Texas.
TAIDA, and it's an article about the truth about trust.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
on
a
our next,
really good one.
on our first White
yeah.
Hat Wednesday in January, we're going to make that episode,
Which
The Truth
will be
About
next
Trust.
Wednesday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Next Wednesday, we will, that topic will be the truth about trust, and we're going to be inviting a number of people to come join that conversation.
Absolutely. So be looking for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything that we can help you with, you can go to whitehatway.com and fill out leave a comment. How can learn more? How can I help? Or you can call or text Jim directly, 903-816-0216. And if you've got something that you need some help with, we're out there just teaching and teaching and teaching, but we can help you put all the pieces together. So I think that's it.
Yeah, we can wrap up there. I think thanks for tuning in. Glad to have a chance. We appreciate you indulging us in kind of the expanded version of recap of what we've learned this year.
Thank you.
And the things that we're learning, we're going to share, and we're going to do the best we can to help others in their own business decisions going forward. And we're very excited about 2024. We'll see everyone again on Monday. By then, we'll be into the new year.
We are grateful for all of you and just are really looking forward to stepping in with you for a fantastic 2023. Have a great week, you guys. Thanks.